When it comes to handguns, we are spoiled for choice here in 2024. There have never been so many genuinely good guns out there on the market, especially when it comes to carry guns. It's possible to get plenty of firepower, excellent reliability, and great handling all in a tiny footprint. But despite the technological advancements made throughout the industry, not every carry gun is a winner. Some are big disappointments in terms of performance, features, or even their very design ethos. A few are downright dangerous to the shooter. To help you avoid the real dogs in the carry gun sector, I'm bringing you a list of 5 carry guns that only idiots would buy in 2024. Coming in at number 5 on our list of misfits is the Bond Arms Cyclops Thumper, chambered in the stomping 50 action press. Bond Arms is already well known to most shooters as makers of precisely manufactured and high-quality derringers. From old-school reproductions to new and novel designs, if you want a tiny two-shot, there's bound to be a Bond Arms that is right for you. From the versatile 45 or 410 rustic Defender, with its charming rosewood grips and high-polished finish, to the flyweight 22 caliber Stinger, Bond Arms has a varied lineup. They really do try to make a derringer for everyone, and I appreciate that. Say what you will about derringers as a design, there is no denying that they remain enduringly popular with shooters. There's just something about that simple, single-action, break-open design that seems to mesmerize people who want a last-ditch hold-out gun. I'm no fan of derringers generally, even though Bond Arms is an upstanding and honorable manufacturer. But as far as I'm concerned, the Cyclops series, which all invariably chamber monstrous cartridges in a single-shot format, have no reason to exist except as novelty pieces. Just to be clear, it's a single-shot 50 caliber backup gun. If you would choose to stake the outcome of your life and death encounter on a single shot of anything, there's nothing I can do or say to you. I don't even want to think about how atrocious the recoil of this massive 50 is coming out of a 28-ounce pistol. I guess we should be glad it's not the 45 or 70 version. The Cyclops Thumper is a novelty, a party trick, something you make your friends shoot to see their reaction. It's not a serious piece for self-defense. In the number 4 position on our list of idiotic carry guns, Smith & Wesson's Performance Center Model 327. I'm sure some of our viewers might balk at the inclusion of what, at first glance, seems like an entirely sensible, traditional nice DA revolver on this list. I understand your doubt, and I'll explain, but first, let's get the tale of the tape. An ultralight .357 Magnum end-frame revolver, one boasting an impressive 8-shot capacity and a tiny 2-inch barrel, it certainly looks like an entirely reasonable choice for a general-purpose carry gun. At least it is one that double-action revolver fans could certainly get behind. The scandium frame of this S&W is especially notable. Scandium is an element that, when added in the right proportions to aluminum alloy recipes, produces a resulting metal of incredible strength and barely their weight. Combined with a titanium barrel shroud and cylinder, this sizable snubby comes in at a scant 23.2 ounces. Lots to like so far, but my issues are with the chambering and the barrel length. The .357 Magnum is indeed one of the most versatile and best-performing pistol cartridges of all time, but in a gun this light with a barrel this short, it is absolutely wasteful in every single way. Without a long barrel to let the powder charge burn up completely, thus lending that velocity we want to get to the bullet, it is all for nothing. You'll get tons of extra flash and recoil, but no appreciable gain in ballistic performance. And I can already hear the seasoned shooters out there. Yes, it will chamber 38 special as normal, making it far more efficient. But then that means you're dealing with potentially dangerous leading and carbon buildup in the cylinders if you don't stay on top of maintenance. Besides, if you're going to load 38s all day, you probably wouldn't need a titanium cylinder in the first place. This Performance Center revolver is undeniably cool, but unbelievably inefficient. And S&W is going to charge you well over $1,000 for the privilege. Trust me, you'd be better served by a smaller, cheaper, dedicated 38 Special snubby. I'm not trashing Smith & Wesson or Bond Arms out of hand, I promise. Both of these models are just a miss for me. The number 1 gun on our list is one that we can all make fun of together, so keep watching. If you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to click like and hit that subscribe button to keep up with all of the great gun content here on the channel. Sauntering in the number 3 spot, as much as it pains me to say it, is Walther's rightly famous PPK. If there was one gun on earth that you'd absolutely depend on non-gun people recognizing, it has to be Bond. James Bond's legendary service pistol. The PPK epitomizes stylish, and it's hard to say whether it enjoys that image because of James Bond or if it helped lend its own image to the most famous fictional agents in Her Majesty's Secret Service. As timeless as it looks, the PPK has been around a whole lot longer than most folks think, first debuting over 90 years ago in 1931. It's nearly 100 years old, packing 6+1 rounds of 380 ACP in a 19-ounce package that measures just under 4 inches high and a hair over 6 inches long. There is no arguing that the PPK is a petite and easily concealable pistol. It is this easily concealed form factor that has made it such an enduring favorite with users all over the world for nearly a century. Unfortunately, the PPK design is definitely showing its age. The slide-mounted safety decocker is difficult to actuate on such a tiny pistol, and if you have a large hand, it's going to be even harder. The double-action trigger is quite difficult to manage, with the pull coming in at a stout 13.5 pounds. The SA pull is better, but hardly good at about 6.5 pounds. More bad news in the ergonomics department is the tendency of the slide to lacerate the shooter's firing hand. That's thanks to how sharp those finely machined slide rails are. The current model PPK features an extended beaver tail to help alleviate this issue compared to legacy models, but it has not properly eliminated it. These barrel cuts would put a set of fine scars behind on dedicated PPK shooters, an injury that those in the know would refer to as railroad tracks. Perhaps worst of all, Walther wants premium coin for the privilege of owning a PPK. With other competing and superior 380s on the market like Ruger's LCP Max, the Sig Sauer P365 through 380, and the Glock 42, it begs the question if the PPK is worth it at all. I know hearing this about the venerated PPK is sure to ruffle some feathers, but I'm standing by it. Clattering into the coveted number 2 spot on our stupid pistol safari is the standard manufacturing S333 Thunderstruck, chambering 22 WMR. Where to even begin on this thing? An 18-ounce double-barrel 8-shot 22 Magnum that fires 2 rounds with each pull of the trigger. And speaking of trigger, it is a double-finger arrangement that looks like it was taken directly off a paintball maker. Instead of a trigger guard, we have a protruding vertical spur jutting out of the frame that leaves the trigger almost entirely exposed from underneath. It reminds you of a Fitz Special in a messed-up, nightmarish way. I'd rather take my chances with one of those old-school wheel guns than this unholy contraption. Well, let's address the alleged advantages of this alleged handgun. Using a smaller cartridge has drawbacks, namely the fact that you give up considerable terminal performance in a self-defense situation. Naturally, this necessitates multiple shots, which take more time when time is short. That subsequently necessitates multiple trigger pulls with more opportunity to shank a shot. Standard manufacturing solved this problem with the S333 Thunderstruck by simply firing 2 rounds at once. Call it accuracy by volume, a double whammy, or just extra insurance. By any standard, it is just poorly executed. I've never known even a single customer that owns one of these things that was able to attain legitimate, responsible accuracy from it. That's because these guns are notorious for causing one or both bullets to tumble, ruining practical accuracy past a scant few yards and surely hurting penetrative performance. The manufacturer blames substandard ammo for this occurrence, but that hasn't been my experience. To say that this is not ideal for a self-defense gun is an understatement. An 8-round capacity would be attractive on a serious revolver, but with the S333, you're still limited to just 4 shots before you need to reload. No matter how you square it, this is a gimmicky, inefficient, and ineffective gun for concealed carry. The only reason you should own one of these things is for the novelty or curiosity factor. Self-defense is serious business, and this is not a serious gun for the purpose. And finally, at number 1, the crowning clunker of them all, the Alor Pistol. Folks, I had to gather my thoughts about this purported gun no less than half a dozen times. half a dozen. 6 is also the total number of parts in this so-called gun. It consists of nothing more than a grip, fire control assembly, and attached breech face with a barrel that is truly just a tapered tube. This gun is better described as an avant-garde artist's subversion, reductivist expression of the firearm as a concept rather than an actual functioning pistol. Everything about this pistol is uniquely terrible. To load it, you have to unscrew the barrel from the receiver, slightly pulling the trigger to make separating the two halves easier. Then, carefully place the trigger into a fiddly half-cock position before loading a single cartridge into the breech face. You want to make sure you get it into half-cock, otherwise the firing pin will be protruding. That means that your fingers might soon be having a bad day. After that, the barrel is screwed back on, rotated into the safe indexing position, and the trigger carefully, gingerly lowered to rest. To shoot, the trigger must be retracted all the way to the rear and then released. Yes, it shoots upon release. It's a slam-fire pistol, and there is no sear. And no, you can't leave the trigger on half-cock with the safety on, because clicking the safety off in this position will fire the gun most likely. That's per Altor, folks. That's not me dogging it. As bad as this is, it gets worse. The ergonomics were not designed with human anatomy in mind. The sights are molded into the top of the plastic frame as an afterthought, or perhaps as antagonism to the unfortunate soul that is attempting to shoot this thing. Accuracy is non-existent, as the tube only has 4 shallow micro grooves cut into it for rifling. That was done only so it could be sold as a handgun under ATF mandates. Everything about using this gun, everything is terrible and dangerous. I implore everyone who sees this video to avoid this contraption like the plague. I fear that anyone handling it, even expert shooters, will have an accidental discharge with it at some point, no matter how careful they are. I can get behind very cheap guns as a method of making self-defense available to everyone, even the financially disadvantaged. But this is something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. If you are that desperate for a self-defense tool, save your money and your fingers and just get pepper spray. And mercifully, that wraps up our list of the concealed carry guns that only idiots would dare to buy. I know that some of them are tempting, some are just bafflingly dumb and irresponsible. No matter which, we've got much better choices out there on the market today if you need a concealed carry piece. I really want to know what you think about the guns on this list, though. Do some of them have redeeming qualities that might make them viable, or do you think they are all just bad choices? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content from Guns You Can't Live Without.